Thoughts on MCC Ace Race? Now that more info is out. Got somebody on MCC. MCC Ace Race. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't go back and watch anything that I said. I'm sure I said dumb stuff because obviously it's like winning the lottery and then being like, oh, nope, you actually didn't win. Like when you have that rush of adrenaline and then you're super hyped about something and then you get told like, no, actually, then it feels bad. And so I'm sure I was definitely reactionary. I don't think I actually said anything that bad, but I probably said stuff that I didn't explain things well or do anything differently. I think they made a good decision with what they had to make the decision based on. I expressed my opinion in the MCC Discord like afterwards about the fact that I think that they should have essentially this is what I expressed in the MCC Discord. Is I think the reason that it felt bad, and I said something about like bias during right after it happened. Again, I think everybody is naturally biased. Like I'm biased, and everyone that obviously the MCC organizers are naturally going to be biased towards one thing or another, right? No matter what, everyone's going to be biased. I don't think this decision was made based on bias, but I think that leaving things like this up to there's no rhyme or reason as to like when they do X and when they don't do X, can make it feel like, okay, here's a better explanation. Here's like my thoughts summarized. Essentially, the way to make somebody feel good whenever they're in a situation like that, or at least the best they can feel, is to make it them know for certain that if they're on the other side, that they would get the same treatment. And so I can't say I have no doubt whatsoever that if I was one of the 10 people disconnected, that it would have happened. I assume it probably would have. But if there was a guideline that said like, hey, look, if there's this many players affected, then we do X. If it happens halfway point of the game, then we do Z. Like with most like competitive sports, they have kind of general guidelines that happen. Then that like, 'cause obviously if I was in one of the 10 people, I 100% would have been like, yeah, reset. What the fuck? I would have been just as mad the opposite way. I'd be like, that's bullshit. I was in third place and then I got disconnected and then I, fucking MCC redo it. I would have been the exact same way if I was on the other side, 100%. And that seems like a hypocritical take. But it's really not, because obviously no matter what, if you're on the other side or the main side, if you're super competitive, you'll be like emotional about it, obviously, like regardless. But I think that the way that you make it so that everyone's happy is that if you know for certain that you would have gotten the same treatment, then obviously you feel better. And so when I said the bias thing, it was just me thinking like, hey, I'm a complainer. And I know I'm a complainer. I'm an annoying asshole. I'm very competitive and I'm a complainer. I will complain about shit. If something bad happens, I'm going to complain about it. So because of that, it's kind of a boy who cried wolf situation. So because I complain a lot, I'm less likely to get the benefit of the doubt of when I complain, right? I don't know if that makes sense. But like, if I'm going to, like, just in general, that's not even a thing against MCC. It's just the truth. Like, obviously, no matter what, because I complain, I'm going to get the benefit of the doubt less when I complain. It's like, let's say I was to get disconnected in Ace Race and I would say something in chat and be like, hey, I get disconnected. This is fucked. This is dumb. They're going to probably take that less seriously than if someone else who doesn't complain is say something like that. Anyway, so my point being that I think I was feeling in the moment, like, how do I know that if that had happened to me, they would have reset? Maybe they wouldn't have. Right? Because there's not a set in stone rule saying, hey, we reset if this happens or that happens. And so I was feeling like, yeah, I would want them to reset if I was one of the 10 people, but I might get boned in either scenario. Like if I was one of these people, then I would have they wouldn't have reset for me. If it was me and Sapnap, they wouldn't have reset for me or whatever. And that doesn't mean that they 100% would have. I mean, who knows? They probably would have in this situation no matter what. And I don't want to say MCC is biased or whatever. But it's like that feeling where if there was set out guidelines, then you would never have that. You would never have doubt. And so you would just know, yeah, I did get first and then I kind of sucked afterwards. But at the same, if I was on the other end, then I would have wanted to have it reset, obviously. So just knowing that, hey, 100% I would have gotten the same treatment, gives you that peace of mind. And so my suggestion to MCC was, hey, you guys should just publicly kind of have a layout of If X happens, then you do Z, and if Y happens, then you do X. That way, if anything was to happen, then it would just be an expectation. Oh, they're going to reset because they said that. If more than this percentage of teams are affected, we reset. If it's halfway through this game, we reset. Whatever. And obviously, there's a million different scenarios, so you can't just have like specific things. It has to be kind of vague. And so that was kind of my suggestion, was to have them do that, because I think that is kind of the root of it. Is that, yes, if you can sit back and go, if I was one of those 10 people, I would have wanted it to be reset. And then obviously you should want them to reset it. But if you're expecting that if I was one of those 10 people, they might not have reset it, then obviously it's going to make you feel like you're kind of getting cheated. So that was how I felt at the time. Was I was emotionally reacting to the fact that who knows, if I was one of those 10 people, would they have reset for me? Because they don't have a set out guideline for it. I fully think that MCC would have reset for me as well, just to say. In that it would get, after hearing about the circumstances of everything that actually happened. But what if there was only 5 people and I was one of the 5 people? Would they have then? I don't know. I'm a complainer, like I said. Or let's say, as an example, not me, but let's just say someone else who's not as outspoken. Let's say somebody who doesn't really complain much gets disconnected. Would they have reset for them? If there were people who didn't complain in chat or didn't complain about it and they just let it happen. So I think that having a guideline kind of fixes the problem that I had with it. But yeah, anyway, obviously I emotionally reacted, and I don't know if I don't think anything I said was necessarily bad. It was just the way that I said it. But obviously I said multiple times, I know I'm baby raging, but obviously it's just you're never going to be happy if you get first place in something and they say, hey, guess what? You're going to redo it, because you can only do worse. There's nothing you can do. You can't go up from first place. And obviously, if you go watch that clip and go watch like after I got first place, I was super hyped. I knew I had a massive adrenaline rush, and I was cheering and smiling and being like, holy shit, I'm probably going to get first in the event and whatever. And then you take that away, even if that was the right thing, which looking back on it, with everything they had, I would have wanted them to reset for me if I was in the 10. Obviously it sucks, and there's nothing you're going to feel bad about it. And no one on our team got disconnected, so it was kind of like we didn't even know. We had no idea. Like if one of us got disconnected, then we would have at least seen it coming. But it was like nobody that I knew disconnected. Nobody on Sapnap's team disconnected, and nobody on our team disconnected. So it was like I didn't hear from anybody about the problem. And Sapnap was even messaging me after the race was over, and he didn't say anything about it. So I think it was just I didn't see it coming, and I was super hyped, and then it kind of I'm a one-track minded person, so I let it get me down too much. But anyway, I mean, like I said during the event, I love MCC. MCC is great. I think that obviously I'm super competitive, and so I'm sure I'll care more about mistakes than most people. But yeah, I guess that's kind of my thoughts summarized. I don't know if you guys understood what I meant, but yeah, I think looking back on it, I think they made the best decision they could have. And I would hope that they would be consistent with that decision across everybody. But I think the emotion comes from not knowing whether or not it would be. And so it makes you think, well, yeah, but what if I had been boned in either scenario? So, and I just explained that in the MCC chat, and we talked about it and everything. And that was my suggestion to make it so at least it feels a little better, is they have something to point to go, look, we're following this guideline that we set. We're doing this. And so it's not kind of an arbitrary thing. But yeah. Build more sucks, but they need a building game. True. But other than that, we won MCC, and that's awesome. Yeah, MCC. Yeah, another dub. 100% win ratio with bad, and 40% or something win ratio with George. So we just don't lose. I saw people complaining again about funneling. I had one thing I wanted to say, just because I think it's the funniest thing ever. You can go back through and look at all the dodge bolts, right? And look at the lowest player, the lowest person who shot the least or got the least kills on the team, and you will easily be able to see that the lowest player on my teams always has more kills than the lowest player on the other team, even with funneling. That's just how it works. People are going to target me, so I shoot first. How's that? It just makes the most sense. Everyone shoots more. Like this time, guess what? Bad got 2 kills. Skeppy got a kill. George got multiple kills. Everyone on the team got at least 1 kill. And everyone except for Skeppy, I think, got multiple kills. And Skeppy just happened to get targeted first as well. So he probably would have gotten multiple kills if he hadn't been. And you know how many people on the other team didn't have kills? There was like multiple people on the other team that didn't even have kills. Even if they weren't funneling. So anyway, obviously funneling, in my opinion, funneling actually makes things more fair. Not only is it the smarter strategy, and it's just a strategy, so they shouldn't remove it, but it actually makes it more fair because the people who are shooting first are the people who are getting the targeted the first. So therefore it ends up evening out. But anyway, and obviously you always will have more fun winning than you will losing. So I think that it's one of those things where in every other game, no one has a problem with people taking a role that is less. Like, you go, this person, people generally put the quote unquote worst player on their team as Sandkeeper, and that's 100% accepted. And people generally like don't give as much armor to people that aren't as good at PvP in Sky Battle and survival games. They funnel it. That's literally funneling. You're funneling the armor. You're funneling the armor just as much as funneling everything else. In Battle Box, guess what? Guess what players get to pick what kit they want? Usually the team captains, the team leaders, they usually designate, I want, I'm going to take the crossbow, and they take the crossbow. Guess what? You're funneling the best kits to the best players. Every other game has funneling. It's just different. It's a different type of funneling. It's just because funneling is so effective in Dodgeball, it just stands out more. But there's just as much funneling everywhere else. Skeppy and Dream duo with PvP was awesome. It was so great. It was so awesome. Skeppy's one of the only people I ever like had any hand in teaching 1.16 combat, and it was back before the duel, Techno Duel back then. And I remember or after the duel actually, I think. And I remember teaching Skeppy some stuff, and he's cracked. And I mean, his game sense is cracked, obviously for Sky Battle. So yeah, I think his confidence I kind of would have an idea of, I kind of want to go attack this team, and then he would say, "Dream, do you want to attack this team?" He just knew I was thinking about it, and I'd be like, "Yeah, hell yeah, going in." And we just ran in. So they were so fun.